I also want to talk about something that happened to me that I don't think I've ever heard anyone else talk about on here. Hi, welcome to Luxury in Moderation, where we appreciate the finer things in life without going overboard. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Joanne, and every week I upload videos on luxury handbags and other lifestyle products to hopefully give you some really good information, or if you're just curious about these topics. So I hope you join me and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience buying my very first Chanel piece, which was this Chanel classic flap in navy caviar. And I thought my experience might be helpful in helping you understand what you could expect when you go into a Chanel boutique to either browse or buy if you haven't before. And I also just wanted to share some general tips for if you are preparing to buy your first Chanel or your first luxury handbag. These are the things that I experienced and I had to go through. So basically, I had been eyeing a Chanel classic flap for a long time, and when a trip to Las Vegas came up in 2018, because the tax rate in Las Vegas is a little bit lower than where I live, I was thinking that I would probably make my purchase there. Now, ideally, buying a Chanel in Europe would be even more cost effective, at least back then, because, the exchange rates and everything like that. But I had no plans to go to Europe, so I knew I wouldn't be able to save a couple bucks that way. So I thought the next best thing was this trip to Vegas. Well, I knew that I wanted the classic flap, but I didn't know what color. But I definitely knew that I didn't want the black color. And I have a preference of, definitely wanting to be a little bit different, which is why I didn't want the black. But I also didn't want something that I couldn't match up easily or that would be too trendy. So then I knew that Chanel only releases their colored bags in their seasonal collections, and I heard that they never repeat a color twice, which is why if you want that color, that you have to get it that season, and that's like their marketing tactic, but that's a whole other topic I could talk about in another video. So I even went to my local Chanel boutique to see if they had anything of interest, just as like a recon trip to plan out what I'm gonna buy when I went to Las Vegas. So that would definitely be my first tip. Definitely try on the bags if you can beforehand. So when I went to my local boutique, I definitely asked to try on a few different sizes. I even tried on a reissue because I was considering getting a Chanel reissue as well. And I just wanted to see which one I really felt like looked good on me. And I had my fiance also, give me his opinion. So he thought like the reissue looked a little bit big on me. So it's nice to have that time to really see for yourself what the bag looks like on your frame. And most of the time, all the sales associates will let you take photos. So if you can take photos and review them so you can look back, when you have fresh eyes the day after or a week after, or send them to friends and see what they think. I think that was really helpful for me as well. Okay, so now let's get on to when I arrived in Las Vegas. So my very first day I arrived, I think I went to the one in the Bellagio. So I had just gone off the plane. I didn't have any makeup on. I knew I was going out later that day, so I was kind of like saving all of that glamour and whatever for the nighttime. So when I don't have makeup on, I look pretty young, like maybe a college student. So when I first walked into the boutique, and it's a very large, gorgeous boutique, there were also a couple other customers in there being helped. But there was definitely some sales associates that, didn't look like they were helping anybody, and they just looked at me and probably thought I had no money because I was like a poor college student, and walked right past me and, didn't really pay attention to me, which was fine. Like, I sometimes don't like to be helped right away because I do like browsing. I like to see what's in the store. And I also think like I was very confident in myself in wanting to purchase a bag that day. So like the sales associate who like ignored me and just walked away, like that's a loss on their sales, you know, like that's their own fault for overlooking somebody like me just making a snap judgment. So I kind of walked around the store and I walked through the clothes and the shoes and just kind of like admired the store. And then I started looking at the bags more closely. And that's when one sales associate did approach me and was like, "Can I help you with anything in particular?" So I explained, I was looking for a Chanel Classic flap, probably in the medium size, and something a little bit different, so not black. And she was super helpful, and she brought me over to a closet where she just opened it and showed me all of the different colors that they had in the medium classic flap. So she was very open about showing me, this is this color from this collection that we have, or like, why don't you try on this color? And then as soon as I saw this navy one, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I didn't think of the color navy when I was doing my research. But it totally makes sense because I love navy. I think it's pretty easy to match. So I was immediately drawn to that. But I also didn't want to like waste this opportunity to try on, more bags and really consider some colors that I hadn't thought of before either. So even after trying on this bag, I still, the sales associate was still very happy to show me like a lighter color one, a cream colored one, let me have the time to decide which one I really loved. So that would be my second tip, which is, definitely don't feel pressure to have to buy right away, or don't feel like you're wasting the sales associate's time. They are supposed to want to help you make the best purchase you want. Of course, it does vary by associate. So I'm kind of glad that this associate is the one who approached me and wanted to help, because that meant her attitude towards helping me was right. Whereas if I had really tried to like approach that sales associate who ignored me and walked right past me, like I feel like maybe they wouldn't be as patient, right? So it really depends on the sales associate that you get, and really feeling confident in yourself and your own decisions. And doing research really does help with that confidence, but also just practicing walking into high-end boutiques. I know for many first-time buyers or first-time fans of luxury brands, it might feel very intimidating to go in and look and touch the very expensive merchandise. And that's actually what luxury brands want to do. They actually do want to kind of subtly intimidate their customers to really show their authority in the products that they create. But I've been going to luxury boutiques for a very long time now, with first my grandparents and my parents, and now by myself. And sometimes I do still get the side eye from sales associates who think I'm really young, or like, what is she doing in here? Does she fit in here? But, I know who I am. I know that I can look at the product as much as I want, just because like I want to. So that's also something that I would encourage, which is just to visit boutiques and feel comfortable in them and not feel pressured by these sales associates. So after I decided on this navy color, I was ready to buy, and by now I had already prepared myself for the cost of the bag. So I had a set amount in my bank account. I knew what the bag was listed as on the website, but I also tacked on another like 10% really for taxes, because in the US, the price of the bag listed on the website does not include the state tax. And I'm not somebody who memorizes like the taxes of every state that I go to, or even the state that I live in. So, and honestly, taxes can be a little bit tricky, because I actually found out when I bought my Hermes that even though my state tax for goods is about 6%, when the good is like a luxury good and it's above a certain amount, like if it's above $2,000, they actually increase the tax to like 7%. So that's something that I had no idea about. I only saw it when I saw the receipt and then I looked it up. So taxes can be tricky, and I never know the exact amount that I'm going to pay. So sometimes when I go to do my like recon missions in boutiques and I ask about the product and I try it on and I'm not ready to buy that day, I do ask them like, what does this bag cost with tax? Because then they can give you an exact number and you know how much you're going to be charged. So obviously in Las Vegas, I had planned for that and set aside a little bit more money to cover the taxes. So then when I gave my credit card over to the sales associate and she ran it and she went back to the back to package this bag up in the nice wrapping, she came back out and this is where she told me that your card wasn't going through. So I don't know if I've ever heard someone say this on YouTube, but it's definitely can happen to you where your card is not necessarily declined, but like there's an issue with the credit card. And especially because in this day and age, the credit card companies are being very, very cautious about fraudulent purchases. But also tacked on the fact that I was traveling, so I wasn't purchasing in my home state or even my hometown. You know, they knew that that was a deviation from my normal behavior. But this was also the most expensive purchase I have ever done. Like, there's nothing that I've bought that is more expensive than this bag up until that point, right? So they were like, is this really you? So the sales associate actually said that it can happen quite often because, you know, I'm sure like for many people, this is a really, really expensive purchase that isn't a normal thing in most people's lives. And so all I had to do was call my credit card company, say, yeah, that transaction that's trying to go through, yeah, that's actually me and I'm trying to purchase this bag, so just let it go through. And nowadays it's even easier because my bank can send me a text and just be like, hey, are you trying to make this purchase? And I text back yes, and then they just let it go through. So honestly, if it happens to you, which it might, if it's, you know, a unusual purchase for you and your very first luxury purchase, don't be embarrassed. You know, they've probably seen it before. So that's definitely something that I wanted to bring up, that it's completely fine. And it's even something that my sales associate told me that, you know, it definitely happens. So after that, I was super careful in bringing this bag home. I had put it in my suitcase right away, and I had also packed it in my suitcase really safely, and I brought the shopping bag home and tried to not fold it or in any way. So I'm just gonna show some footage of me unboxing this now, because even before starting this YouTube channel, I kind of wanted to remember that special moment of unboxing my very first, my very own Chanel. And honestly, there was so much packaging. So that's something I also didn't expect. They wrapped every little part. There's two felt pieces, one in between the double flaps and one covering the front of the bag. And I keep those and I store those with the felt. So now I have all this packaging, and they also include the little buffing mitt to keep the leathers clean. But yeah, that was my experience actually purchasing something at Chanel for the very first time. And I hope that was helpful or just interesting to hear for those of you who haven't purchased before. And if you have purchased from Chanel before or any luxury handbag boutique, let me know if it was enjoyable or not. I definitely had some ups and downs during that trip. You know, it wasn't all amazing, like the sales associate who ignored me or the credit card issue, but I'm also glad that a really nice sales associate helped me. And so overall, I think it's just, you know, a normal experience where there can be good and bad. It doesn't have to be super luxurious, amazing, glamorous. It's just a shopping trip. So let me know if you have any particular questions in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. My suitcase right away, and I had packed the shopping bag as well, just trying to keep it crease free from